Hello everyone and welcome back. I am still working in my great big art journal. This is clear gesso. I'm just going to prime this canvas side with the clear gesso. And I'm looking for my gesso brush, which I've managed to hide from myself. Let's just use this one. I don't like mixing the brushes up because oh, here we go. Haha. The gesso and the glues tend to stay in your brush, so I have a cheap Simply Simmons brush that came from the Michaels. I like these because they're only a couple dollars, and they're a decent brush for a couple dollars. But after you use it for something like a whole bunch of gesso or matte medium or glue, I don't know, they just don't come out the same after a while. Might take a long while, but after a while they're just not the same. So thought we'd go ahead and prep this page. I got a new idea today for this other page that I wanted to play with, and so I thought we would get the gesso on this page and let it be drying, and then we'll be ready when the other page is doing its thing, hopefully. If we don't put the gesso on it, it's unprimed canvas, and the paint will soak into it kind of funny and not really do what you're expecting it to do on canvas. So just a nice layer on there. Throw that brush in some water. Okay, so on this side, on the watercolor paper side, I was thinking I'd go back to this leafy stencil that we used earlier on that very first page that we did actually. So some of this white may come off, I don't know. But I'm kind of thinking I need some of that stencil stuff that sticks a stencil down, but I don't have any. Now I'm kind of thinking it'd be perfect for this, to tack this down. But I'm kind of thinking that what I want to do is spritz on top of here some walnut ink in eucalyptus, which is a greenish color, and then maybe some of this distressed oxide spray. I'm pretty sure those colors are probably fugitive. They'll probably fade over the years, but I don't care. This is my art journal and I'm experimenting. And then I pulled out some little furniture paint colors in similar colors to do over here, and it's just a what if kind of day. So I'm kind of thinking if I spritz this on and then come back on top and spritz water, then the water will activate with the oxide spray, and I'm hoping 2 different shades of green just might be pretty. So I don't know. We're just gonna, it's just a test to see what we get. Nothing specific in my mind. And we'll just see, is it pretty? Is it not pretty? Oh, and then we got some water because that distress spray says spritz some water to kind of activate it and make it do its little game. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave the stencil sitting there instead of picking it up and just kind of let it do its thing for a bit. This Distress Oxide Spray is Crushed Olive by Ranger. It says shake well, which I did right before I turned the camera on, so hopefully it stayed shook up. And then spray directly on porous surface for quick, easy, opaque ink coverage. Mist with water. With mist water reactive formulation with water to enhance oxidized and mottled effect. And so that's what I did, and looks like I got it on my table too. So I have baby wipes that I keep handy, and I also got some over here on the canvas, but it doesn't matter on the canvas because we can simply paint over it, or it may reactivate with the paint, but who cares? But it's a spray, so it's going to go everywhere, so maybe some baby wipes being handy would help you clean your surfaces off easily. And now we just got to let that kind of do its thing. So we are going to be very careful and work on this side and just see what we can get. Ooh, it's still wet. Let me let this dry a tiny bit and I'll be right back. Okay, I didn't actually leave for that long. I just decided, who cares if it's wet? Because the gesso's down, it's fine. I'm just gonna paint on top of it. I know it's still gonna be an okay protective layer. I'm kind of thinking big abstract. I don't even know. See, I want to use up some of these little paints. I don't want to waste them and just throw them away. But some of these, I must not have been in that brown yet. Some of these paints, they dry out. It's mineral paint, and I don't care if it's not art paint. You know, people make art out of trash. You can make art out of anything, but this is not stuff that I sell. I'm sure you could sell it, but I don't try to sell artwork, so I just don't even go there. I'm going to start with the brown. I do like gesso down on my pad of paper. I was saying pad of paper, I meant palette paper. Palette paper. Got my current favorite paint spreader here. And I like mixing the gesso with the paint because it just makes it a much easier spreadable thing. You'll notice I have tipped my book upside down so that the leaf paint thing that we're letting sit and dry and kind of do its thing is on the other side, so I'm not trying to paint on top of it like I usually am. And I am accidentally painting on both pages here, so might just try to make it look on purpose with the brown. Like this, like it continued on to the next page. So if you get like a little bit on a page you didn't intend to, make it look like it's on purpose. Just always be like, oh yeah, I meant to do that. Oh, nothing like starting off the day with you guys painting and playing in my book. This is that great big art journal I've been working in for a bit. I'm just trying, in my mind, I'm motivated. We'll call this my own little, we'll say 30-day project, maybe 100-day project. Who knows? Because I have showed up every day to paint, and it has felt so good to show up and paint. Okay, so this is pretty dry here. Let me get the top of that off of there. And you know, sometimes you wonder, like, how long is the mineral paint, ooh, this one's dry. How long is the mineral paint going to last compared to acrylic paint? Because I like to use it. I like the colors. I don't mind that it's not regular acrylic paint. Doesn't bother me. I like to paint with other things. And longevity may or may not be the goal. But you gotta wonder, because, you know, I have a dresser painted in some colored paint that I'd gotten at the antique store, and I've had that dresser for like 10 years, and that thing looks perfect like the day it was painted. It's an antique dresser that I had bought, painted a lovely buttery yellow. And you know, if it lasts on furniture for years and years and years, I don't see why it won't last on a canvas for years and years and years. It's just maybe a different binder, but it's minerals and it's paint that you can spread around and do stuff with. I just don't see why it wouldn't last just as long as I want it to. So I have just decided not to worry about it, because I like different paints and I think it'll last fine. I don't want to paint on that side because that's our pink side, but I think it will last just fine, considering the furniture that I have that's painted that looks beautiful still after all of these years. So that's why I don't mind using it, because my dresser is beautiful that's still painted. I think it'll just be fine. So it'll be interesting to look back on this book years from now and think, oh, that was a good choice, or oh, maybe that wasn't a good choice, and just see where did these ideas lead me. Just fun to experiment and observe things and see where we go. But use regular acrylic paint if you're painting. I'm only using this because I have it already, and I'm thinking, ooh, perfect way not to waste it, because you can see that one dried out, because I've had these a while. They do dry out, and They might even have like a goodbye date. I don't know, like a it's goodbye this date kind of thing. I don't know, maybe. I don't think any of them have gone rotten. Sometimes you open paint and it stinks and you think, ooh, is that rotten? Sometimes paint does go rotten, especially like masking fluid. We were talking about in my Facebook group today. Somebody's like opened up a masking fluid and they're like, this thing stinks and it's kind of gritty or gummy or it's got like chunks in it. And we're like, I don't think that's good anymore. So we were like, yeah, maybe no good now. Get me a piece of towel. I'm kind of thinking, maybe I want some white kind of dragged on top. Ooh, look at this. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I'm just painting intuitively. I'm going kind of where the flow is taking me today. It's not anything specific I'm trying to create. I need to let that dry a little bit because I'm dragging it instead of painting on top of it. Kind of want maybe some darkness. Just gonna roll my brush around because I like the texture that I'm getting as I mess up some of that paint. I'm gonna hit this with the dryer for a second. I want some of this to be a little drier. Actually, now that I kind of look at it, I kind of want to drag it a little bit before I dry it. Because I'm gonna come on top of that, I think. That's my least favorite part, so I think I'm gonna come on top of that. I've got these things that PM Artist Studio sent me when I had ordered some stencils and stuff. They're like little foam stamps and they send out some miscuts or extras or whatever in the order sometimes. And I was kind of thinking that it might be fun to see in this wet paint if it, well, that just made a mess. I was going to say it might be fun to see if it would lift up any paint. That kind of lifted up paint. Since I'm already going to do some painting on top of this, I thought this might be a fun little test on here to see. They're more for stamping color down, I'm sure, but I was just, oh, that's what I wanted. So apparently this little one with writing doesn't show up as crazily as this one. This one's fun. Don't ask me what this is. It says imperfect. Basically, but how fun is that? Let's just put a pattern in there. Oh, that was super fun. It's kind of what I expected, at the same time kind of not. Look at that. Okay, that's fun. So that you definitely got to do while the paint is wet. So now I'm like, okay, do I like that enough just to leave it like that? Maybe I do. Maybe we need some paint up here to finish this off up there. Yeah, maybe that's exactly where I want to be. I don't know. That's kind of fun as a difference to this page over here. I am kind of liking that now that we did that. Let's see. Let's put one right here. It's cracking me up. Look at that. That is so fun. Okay, that's pretty cool. So I might just leave that like it is because I like it so much. And it is different now that we got that pattern all in there. And what if we go ahead and flip it around and pull the leaf up and see if we like where we ended up. So that's kind of fun. Okay, now I'm going to pick this up and let's just see where it is. Ooh, and it's still wet. So what I want to do before I make a big mess with everything. Okay, so what I did before that made a big mess was just take that deli paper and squish it down. This could be future collage paper, something like that, whatever we want to do with it later. This can be future paper for that, and it doesn't waste the ink on there, and then we'll just peel that off when it's dry. So that's kind of crazy. It even has the stencil girl stencil there underneath it. Crazy page. Did not pick colors that matched at all, apparently, because this page doesn't look anything like the colors I thought we would get here. And this is still kind of wet. So now I'm gonna have to let this dry a little further. And then I think I'm gonna be done with this spread for today. But it is kind of cool. It's something different. We ended up somewhere I didn't expect. Way different than I expected, actually. So super fun. The next page is a double watercolor page. I'm kind of excited to get to the double watercolor page because even though I like all these weird pages, I'd like there to be a few more watercolor double spreads in here, I think. So I'm gonna let this dry and then I'll show you some finished pictures there at the end because I have a feeling that we've still got some interesting effects that should be happening with this distressed spray. If I pull that closer, you can really see some of the cool effects that it's kind of doing back there, but you can't really see that that was a leaf and vine pattern. So what if we take some type of ink and now define those? I'm going to try out my Kuretake pen to see if I can draw on top of these and just do just a pen and ink drawing on these, and it may spread, but I was kind of thinking, you know, we can just do pen and ink drawing. You could do this with some Pigma pens, Micron pens. You could do this with the acrylograph pens. I was just thinking that it just might be nice to have some type of definition to these since it didn't dry as a crispy clear layout here. And then if you hated it, you could always gesso on top of it. Nothing is permanent. We could have done this in gold if I had wanted to, or those acrylograph pens, which are acrylic ink. We could paint on top of this. We could have done that with some paint. Definitely lots of ideas here on what you might could do. But I just thought as might be interesting since it's not really defined what it was. You might later look at that and think, what was that? And now you can have the color underneath your drawings. Okay, I think I've got all the leaves painted, and you'll notice I hold the pen back a little further so that my pen is not as exact or perfect. If you want, you know, perfect drawing and everything, usually you want to be way up here and be tight and perfect, but I draw usually way back here because I'm not looking for perfect. And then at this point I could continue embellishing. I like how the lines that I just did around the edges kind of framed it out and made those all part of the composition rather than something separate. And then, you know, we could come back in here now with some lovely dots around the leaves and continue embellishing the piece as we want. See, now I do like the little dots on there. So your preference as to how much on something like this you continue to embellish and play. All right, do we got everything with a little dot around it somewhere? I think I like it. I like it. I like how it's partially unpainted, partially painted. I like the vines. I like the line drawing. Now I feel like we're more done. Not sure it quite matches what we did over here, but it is what it is. As we flip through the page, we will then see lovely different layouts, and I think it'll fit right in quite beautifully. And now that I just flip back to it, I'm like, oh, I really do like it. Okay. Hope you had fun painting with me today. This was a fun layout to do, and I'll see you next time.